Chat, here we go. It is the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational, and we have made it to the grand final, which means 24 hours after this video uploads would be the deadline to make it to 100,000. And sure, we might not be there up in the top right corner, but that's because the videos haven't started really going up yet. There will be lots of chance for you to subscribe and get us there, and if we do, we'll run a $3,001 tournament. But even if we don't, we'll be a little bit closer to getting there before the end of the year, which was the original goal. We've got Diaz versus Chronic, a South American, specifically a Brazilian, versus US's representative in Chronic. He just denied, apparently, Jack, what was maybe going to be the gauntlet run of a lifetime. These two guys were 2-0 in pool play when they played yesterday as the final game of pool play to decide who finished first. Diaz was able to win it, but it was close. He won in Game 5. Now, best of 7. More chances for both of them. Is it more chances for Chronic to find a way back into the series? Or will Diaz just win by an even bigger margin? Chronic just won 3 games straight coming into this one. Or sorry, let me correct myself. 4 games straight on his reverse sweep in order to get here. So he should be feeling decent. These guys guaranteed at least $400, but $1,000 for whoever finishes first. So the most money on the line possible at the biggest time, the grand final. Chronic. A reset shot as he dribbles length of the field. I think we're going to see a good amount of dribbling the length of the field between the two of these guys. Chronic's going to start it not from the back wall, but from the top corner. Diaz direct kickoff win attempt is not fast enough. Chronic able to recover back. Pogo shots! Hey, I've been seeing Chronic go for the pogos on celebrations after he's already scored, which usually is indicative of somebody who is kind of training to eventually bring the pogo into their game. No pogo shots yet from Chronic in this tournament. That was his first attempt as far as I'm aware. These two just so equal as they both vie for control. It's 50 after 50 after 50, but it is going to play into Diaz's air dribble. And the fake Chronic gets dusted by it. He tries to go in and out of the nets and cannot catch back up to the ball. Or I shouldn't say in and out. He did jump off the side wall, though. Diaz, 3-2. Trying to have the tournament we've labeled North America's portion of this tournament look silly in retrospect if Diaz goes undefeated. Chronic, so smooth. When he is able to get to his spot, when either one of these guys are able to get to their spot, it's going to be tough to stop them. We were talking about Diaz and how he is only really worried, it would seem, of one North American. He's actually been pretty equal with Chronic, I would say. He lost to Chronic before this tournament, but won in pool play. But he has a really tough record against Wavy, who came through the close qualifier. Fortunately for him, the Gen G squad did well to protect him against him. Jack took him out early. But now he has maybe the toughest of the Gen G guys to beat in Chronic. Double reset for Chronic, and he will score again. He keeps being able to create these dribbles, not just off kickoff, but in open field play as well, as Diaz backing off and being unable to make the reads in net. Direct kickoff goal will be scored by Chronic. He says, here you go, bud. Hard to blame him for trying to rotate back and deny the goal, but sometimes you end up doing it for him. Diaz down one. Really heavy first touch to start his air dribble. One that's going to take everything in his tank to catch back up to. Chronic was able to direct it into his corner. Now going to look to try and survive with 20 boost. He expected Diaz pop-up, so he went up there to get the clear. Will he have time to pick up 100 boost or not? Diaz wants to fake Chronic on the hook shots, but Chronic did not fall for it. Stayed on the back wall where his wheels keep him grounded and where he can adjust, and then was able to make the save on the follow-up shot. Monkeys like bananas. Thank you for the brand new prime. Diaz scoring from his own back wall, but not in the way he's famous for. This time, just being gifted an opportunity at a long shot. Chronic again looking to get to his air dribble from the midfield. And why not? He's been having so much success. He tried to box out Diaz and see if he could maybe tap it in with a touch of his car, but he did not side flip. He did not go all in. Was not worth giving up his wheels being on the ground for. The reason why is because he can work to get a follow-up like he did. Chronic gonna make it 7-5 to keep his game win streak going. In case I didn't mention it before and you didn't know, you might have maybe tuned in for just the grand final, haven't watched too much 1v1, you may be thinking to yourself, Brazil versus the US, how does that work? And the answer is the Brazilian player plays on 120 ping and just makes it seem like they're not playing on 120 ping. But it is something you should keep in mind. Diaz does play with a slight disadvantage in his process of winning the pool and now trying to defend the gauntlet. As he's going to tie the game up. Placed at top left. Another kickoff win, 7-7. And ping doesn't seem to be an issue, as it almost never does for Diaz. How would he play if he got to play these guys on low ping? It's a tough question to answer. All we know now is he has himself a tie game. Chronic does win a kickoff to a wall to air dribble. Shooting from far out of the net to the ground level. Diaz makes the save. Now 18 boost for Diaz. Chronic able to moonball the flick. But nothing comes of it. Now he wants the ball on the ground. Surely. Wait a second. No, he can keep it up. Diaz blocks the angle for the shot. Overtime in game number one. Well, a best of 7 with the entire tournament on the line. Diaz will win this kickoff at around ceiling height at the midfield. First touch reset. Next touch a front flip to put it near the top shelf, but Chronic gets the save. Low boost for him. Diaz will not be able to deny him the back corner, though. He will turn quickly back on the ball after he gets some boost of his own. And now a half flip from Chronic. What a save. Tough position there. Seemed like that left side of the net could have been available if it weren't for a clean recovery from Chronic, but he got it. And now Diaz going to one of his 2 favorite spots. The back left corner dribble as well as the back wall dribble seem to be the positions that he defaults to when given space, but Chronic knows better than to let Diaz get anywhere deep into the dribble. Challenges him early and now has a possession of his own in his half. A fake. Diaz stays on the ground and Chronic slow plays it all the way into the net. He refuses to actually take the shot while Diaz dances on the goal line, and eventually Chronic able to dunk it in off the Diaz save. Chronic will continue his game win streak up 1-0 against Diaz. Game 2. Diaz on the blue side as he waited at the top of this gauntlet for the past 3.5 hours to see who would be playing against him. Could have been Wavy, could have been apparently Jack, could have been First Killer. But it was Chronic, the player waiting right underneath him. Diaz winning the follow-up challenge on the kickoff, but at a near dead stop with 0 boost is not going to be an easy place to create a scoring chance from. Diaz breaking up the play despite not having any boost, lands perfectly on the side 100, and now will reset. He wants to go. I'm actually really surprised he's not even taking the back wall dribbles like he normally does. He seems to be trying to cut it across the net and go for the opposite corner full field air dribble. Bit of a mix-up maybe because he feels like Chronic is doing a good job pressuring him close. Power shot, it's in. Recognition that Chronic is in too deep with not enough boost. And he just rips it 105 kilometers per hour into the net. Diaz resets far out on a very laterally slow dribble. One that was never really going to attack through the air. Always expected to come to the ground with that one. Chronic hooking it up around the corner and into an air dribble of his own. And just slightly off. Perfect placement. Gonna try and camp out of the midfield. He didn't get the boost in. Diaz did. And so Diaz will get a goal. Diaz first in control of the ball off the kickoff, just booms it to the back wall, but has regained a possession now. Will start a dribble from the ground, taking it so high, using the flip to get over Chronic. Can he find a way to dish it in? It's no surprise that a dribble taken that high ends up finding itself over the top of the net. Chronic wants to wait for this ball to fall to the ground. Doesn't want to have to jump off this back wall to clear it and put himself in a vulnerable position. So he waits it out. Now is back in said vulnerable position, and oh no, he doubled it in. It was going to be a clear, but an accidental double from Chronic puts it right back in the sweet spot for Diaz. 4-0 for Diaz on the bounce back game, and make it 5 on a direct kickoff win. And Chronic says, "Aight, we go next." He's had enough. Another 0-goal game for Chronic. He does not want to try and win it back. He reverse swept last time. He had a few forfeits, so hard to blame him for being down to go next now. Game 3. Chronic, if he does end up winning the tournament, will have to be the most times someone has gotten 0 goals in a game and still won the tournament. It's very hard, near impossible, to shut somebody out without a forfeit helping you. I do believe that if Chronic attempted to play out the last 2 minutes, he would have gotten at least a goal, as well as maybe a couple other shutouts that Chronic has had on him today. But Diaz, all he could do is try and win. Sure, he might have just watched Jack do the same thing to Chronic and then eventually not be able to finish it out. Doesn't mean he shouldn't just try and do the exact same. Retake the lead again quickly after the Chronic forfeit. Chronic started this dribble from high in the back corner. Diaz doing some faking here, and he never stops faking the whole way. He really wanted Chronic to challenge. And even I thought he was finally going to touch the ball once Chronic went for the backflip challenge, but no. Diaz was very patient. He was going to wait the whole time. And he single jumps just as a way to 50 in case Chronic does touch the ball. But man, this is just reminiscent of a series I watched a moment ago. A Chronic forfeit into another decimation early on in the game. Chronic ended up fighting through that one till about the 3-minute mark, where I think maybe the 6th goal was scored to make it 6-0. And then he had enough. Might need to get going here soon. 4 is not too bad, though. 4 is very recoverable, even if a ton of time ticks off the clock. But he needs to be getting some goals before long. Diaz is going to make it 5-0 as Chronic ends up being the one to pass it while he backflips it to the back wall. Another kickoff win. Might be 6. I mean, this is like exactly what happened against Jack. But it isn't going to be a forfeit just yet. Which I don't think it was last time. What I said was Chronic needs to score next. I think he'll stay in it as long as the next 3, maybe 4. 3 would be enough. He needs the next 3 goals to go his way. And he'll stay in it. But if it doesn't, I don't know what we're going to see. 7-0. 3:30. It would be a mix-up from Chronic to try and power through and see if he can bring it back, but he's going to. No forfeit this time around. And anybody who's been watching the past 2 series today know that this is a forfeit in Chronic's book in the last few games he's played. Now the question is, does he have to keep scoring to want to stick it out? 7-1. 3 minutes on the clock. Kickoff in his favor. He will run it away from Diaz. Notice that Diaz was going to go for a poke on the side wall. So did not go into an air dribble. Just prepared for that to win the 50 and got his 2nd goal inch by inch. Chronic tries to claw it back. Chronic resets. Dancing behind the ball. What placement! Chronic has come alive in the last 30 seconds or so when he's got 3 straights. And this one was pretty impressive as he gets back up on the high bounce around the ball in order to be able to place it off that corner and in. Gonna need probably something close to about 7 straight. Make it 4 straight. Chronic has decided instead of doing his comeback game by game, maybe he'll just try to do it in the same game. Diaz winning this kickoff, though, putting Chronic back into his net, not allowing him to pick up the back corner. Wow. That seemed like a mean zap dash. Chronic up super early. This will be interesting to see. This is the first goal from Diaz in a while, but Chronic has gotten 4. So he is going to keep sticking it out. This is certainly more than enough time, just to be clear. 4 goals, 2 minutes. Chronic does have to win the last 2 minutes, but he's shown that he has what it takes. Diaz, very passive play here. I don't know if he's going to try and play the clock at all. I'm expecting him to try and take this one. Double reset, and he just gave Chronic a freebie. A gift from Diaz to Chronic. And now, a minute 43 goals. Feels very doable. Chronic gets his sidewall position, has a reset. What a shot! Just absolutely slams the ball off of one-touch reset, gets into position, and just front flipping. It goes in 100 kilometers per hour. Maybe Diaz gave it a little bit more. The Chronic showing you only need 2 touches. One to get the reset, and one to slam it in. Chronic denying Diaz a quick goal off the kickoff. Minute 20. Diaz air dribble. Saved. Shane dashes from Chronic to try and help clear this ball, but he's still on 0, and he just jumped off the wall, so it's going to be a clear Diaz possession as he fakes that he's going back down to the ground, but did it a little bit too late. Boosting it into Chronic, who has read this setup off the back wall. Diaz, nice recovery, but now on no boost. Chronic bumped using the flip to stick with the play, and now trying to set up a hook shot back in field, but Diaz closed the distance before he could beat him with it. And now Chronic just needs to eventually score this possession. If he does, he's got time on a kickoff. A demo into a carry. Double jump bump, and Diaz is able to pool shot it off target. And now he's going to get demoed again. So Chronic has a second chance. He still has time. Just needs to get this in before 0. Good challenge from Diaz. Chronic out of the corner. Has a reset. Diaz on low. Boost. The front flip. Denied. Diaz a big save. And what a save from Chronic. He has to give him the credit as he secured his game. And Chronic tried to fight this one back, but couldn't make it all the way there. Diaz will take game number 3. Game 4. Diaz's momentum slowed down. And if nothing else, that could be a good argument for Chronic staying in the game. Because clearly off the forfeit in game number 2, Diaz came in hot and created a deficit that Chronic could not overcome. Maybe an intentional decision to say, I need to stick this one out, if for no other reason but to build a bit of momentum. Diaz power sliding around the ball to set up his power shot. He wants to keep Chronic pinned back off the kickoff win, and essentially does, as he forces a 0 boost Chronic to overextend, looking for a demo. Interesting play from Chronic. Obviously a mistake. He's going to drop a whoops. Maybe just a mistaken side flip. Not the flip he wanted. Chronic has the ball taken clean off his car in the air from Diaz. Diaz, very aggressive landing as he tapped that back to the midfield. Thought he could turn around and make a play on the ball right away, which is just ambitious to say the least. Chronic, a psycho attempt, slightly off it would seem. I know he missed completely, but I think that's the slim margins of a psycho. You really have to just barely skim it. Diaz in and out. Save, and actually gets there in time. It didn't look like it was going to be one that could be countered. We see these counterattacks a lot in 1v1. But Chronic did turn slightly infield. And that gave the angle. Diaz. The pinch shot to put it on the backboard. Now ahead of the play on his resets. Able to at least get somewhat of a 50 out of it to keep his possession going. And now faking up the side wall. Chronic backflipping out of his pre-jump. Landing back down to the ground, but still not being able to get into position. So nice mix-up. Good read of the defense. You could see pretty good movement there from Chronic too, I feel like. I guess there's really not much he could have done. Maybe tried to take it a little bit more along the goal line on the final attempts, but bailed out of his pre-jump about as well as you could ask for. Ka-chow as Diaz makes it 5-3. Diaz, this is one of his signature plays. He can keep the ball at ceiling heights, the distance of the field. Chronic denies him. Takes up for an air dribble of his own. And resets on another possession. This time, an air dribble starting from his own box. Reset. What is this shot from Chronic? It is an unorthodox movement, but it leads to a goal. As we watch from Diaz POV, Chronic gets the reset and turns underneath the ball to get a diagonal backflip to put it out ahead of Diaz. Diaz, what is he going to try and do here? He does tap it down and scores it. I didn't think that this was going to be possible. I thought Chronic would be able to break this up on the back wall. Usually it's not too difficult for defenders to do so, but Chronic was prioritizing landing on the back wall. I wonder if he changed his priority to just clearing the ball on the very first touch without having to land on the back wall, if that would have helped him, or if he was worried that Diaz was going to tap it around him. You have the benefit of just being able to slam into it because it's so high and it's above the net. You can hit it almost anywhere to clear it. Chronic not going to take this air dribble into the Diaz waiting on the ceiling. Instead, he'll go for a dish, and it works! I think he actually got Diaz to score it for him. We'll have to see. Diaz, interesting. He's done this again where he lands so aggressive. He forced himself to half flip because he had a chance to turn and land shadowed. But he landed pointed out towards the midfield and immediately had to half flip, which I feel like delays himself slightly. Power shot from Diaz is a goal. Chronic just turning pretty aggressive. I'm not sure it would have mattered. Even if he had ball cam on and knew the whole way what it was going to be. And just flew out across the net. Not sure he gets there in time. 7-5. Chronic. I take it over to his back right corner. Diaz shadowing and now floating behind the ball. Chronic tried to catch him on his landing with a flick. Diaz, what a shot. He went on the inside of his net and he will pinch it with Chronic to send it the length of the field. It was a great first save, but maybe an even better second one. As it doesn't even need... Oh, it does bounce. It does bounce right before going in. 8-5. Still a very winnable game from Chronic's POV. I swear I didn't jinx it. I swear that's not my fault. He will go next as we head to Game 6. Or head to Game 5, sorry. Not Game 6 just yet. Game 5. Diaz and Chronic. Diaz 1 game away from going undefeated in the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational. Diaz was looking to be this level in tournaments past. He's going to back it up right now, or at least I should say he's a game away from backing it up. Chronic was going to have to win 4 straight in his previous game, or previous match, and he managed to do that, so it would be silly to count him out now. He's going to have the opening possession here of game number 5. Chronic into the ceiling and a pinch on the ground as he reads Diaz for the first goal. Chronic out to the arc of pads to pick something up to work with, and it'll work out well. I think a little bit because Diaz didn't handle that as well as he can be known for. Diaz goal line 50, and he's on the board. An open field kickoff win. Chronic waiting on the goal line. Diaz made it clear he was going to walk it in. So Chronic looked for his chance to strike and picked the wrong time, but his delay kickoff will help him forget about it as it works wonders against Diaz and gets himself his 3rd goal. Chronic looked like he was trying to go for what was a nearly impossible angle. Nice pre-flip from Diaz to pull this out of the grasp of Chronic. Nice pop. This time, Chronic going to the ceiling off of his win. We haven't seen that from him too much yet today, but it's going to pay off the first time he goes to it. Instead of his classic sidewall dribble, he does send the ball into the ceiling, and he's able to get the read. Diaz transitioning off of his ceiling challenge when he saw how fast Chronic was going. Knew that if he tried to go to the ceiling then, he'd probably be a bit late. Chronic musty double. Double's a bit too soon to get it in. And this is clear to his own back wall. Hasn't been able to get a clean possession, but Diaz is going to shadow and pre-jump. Now try and take it away. 50 win from Chronic. Saved his jump to return to the ground quickly. Chronic deciding against going the length of the field. It's tough to do when Diaz didn't fully leave the play. He can turn back and steal the ball away. Chronic actually did a pretty decent job, all things considered, because I feel like those are often just instantly won almost directly into the net. You try and jump off the back wall and go all the way to the ground. But at the end of the day, Diaz did score. So one data point towards maybe just trying to go for that full dribble. Chronic is one of the guys who can do it, at the very least, as a clear, if not just to create a scoring opportunity. Chronic dropping himself a great pass as Diaz will tie it up. What is his copy pasta? I'm playing a bit of sideswipe whilst watching. My teammate made it 1-0 with 0 seconds left in Who's? Is that Hoops? Then we had another kickoff with 0 seconds. Why am I reading this? I was AFK, so they scored. We went for OT, another 2 minutes. Why did I read this? Why did so many people copy? I blame everyone who copied and pasted it. It's not my fault. Chronic to retake the lead. Diaz not going to take the ball to the sidewall. Chronic was flipping out towards it to beat him there, but didn't commit too hard. Sticks around and now has a possession and had the ball a little bit too far in the back of his car, so lost it on his single jump. And now will not be able to pick up his own back corner boost, as he has to stay up high in the back wall to play keep away. Soft save from Chronic, and he couldn't get back to it. Diaz couldn't get an angle to score either. Minute left to go. Diaz gonna take to the skies. No reset to work with. Instead, we'll go 50. Credit to Chronic for a nice save. Can be tough to win those. He's trying to pick up boost because he's gonna have to defend again. Diaz air roll to get that additional touch. What he was hoping was to put it out ahead of Chronic. Didn't work out that way. Another chance. This time Chronic with boost will go to the ceiling. Diaz just going to try and take it straight to the net, but Chronic played right into his hands, or Diaz played right into Chronic's hands, as he threatened the high save and convinced Diaz to make his dribble simple, and then recovered back and saved it. 20 seconds left to go, though, and Diaz may still have a chance here. Going to take Chronic's corner boost again. Diaz, that's not the setup I would have think he wanted, but he has surprised me before. But not this time. Chronic, still alive in the series. Has his opponent right where he wants him when he's down huge in a best of 7. Diaz has a chance here still, but no, now it is over. Chronic will get a second game win. Diaz one less chance, as he now has 2 left to try and secure the tournament win. Game 6. Chronic looking to try and force yet another Game 7, and doing so from the toughest of positions. He's going to use all of his boost on this air dribble, landing way short of the nets. Now to get into Diaz's control. Diaz cannot squeeze it into that bottom corner. Chronic pre-flipping out with his last bit of boost. Feels like a mistake, and it will be a mistake. RG Miguel, 123. Thank you for the brand new tier 1. Appreciate you. Diaz out of the back corner, gets the reset almost ahead of the ball, and will get punished. Do you have stats on win rate after car change? No, I don't. Do I have a feel for it? I don't know. I think it's a little bit more relevance than players probably think. What I would think is interesting is switching off of a Fennec, but if you're just going to another Fennec, which I think Diaz might have done here in between these games. At least he did jump out. Diaz now up 3-1. Can he try and score this kickoff? He does pop it up. I think he was hoping to swing through that midfield 100 though, and wasn't able to. Now he's gonna have to defend on pads. Survived for a bit, but not out of the woods yet. Chronic lobbing this one high, and Diaz cannot read it off the backboard. Kill for funds. Think of it, a tier 1 for 6 months. Diaz backing off, trying to pull Chronic in, and it worked out perfectly. Didn't want to take the shot right away. wanted Chronic to get out of position first and then took his shot. Chronic staying in the blue half off the kickoff with no boost. And now kind of chasing Diaz away from the ball. Diaz did not steal the corner. He was trying to dive in, steal the corner, and then return, I think. There's a couple different boost misses from Diaz. Not something you see from the best players very often. Diaz at ceiling heights. Takes it back down to the ground. Gonna try again. 50 is in. (5-3). A 2-goal lead for Diaz. But a lot of time left on the clock. And Chronic will certainly not be forfeiting early anytime in this game. That would be... I guess he could. I guess if it was completely out of reach. But he's not going to be forfeiting without a chance. Or while he still could have a chance. Now within one. What is going on here with our boy Diaz? 2:38. I'm assuming this is a pause. I mean, I think his game just died. All right, we're back into it. 2:38, 5-4. Diaz seemed like he had a game crash, but he should be back now. Chronic not taking a goal, just driving around the map when he noticed Diaz wasn't moving at all. And he will get his goal with the defender in the way. Air dribble, pulling back off for the 50. Now, 5-5. Diaz. Gonna chip up into the air, has a reset, goes for the double and gets it. He saw Chronic going in and out of the net, so he could not shoot on the first attempt. He had to delay it, and he does so by going to the back wall and being able to find that double. That is not an easy double to hit. Centimeters away from the back wall, but he does it. Chronic equalizes. Diaz into Chronic's corner. Plays a bit of keep away. Can he recover to the shot? He will be able to. Gets bumped out, but returns with ease. Big delay by Chronic. Fortunate to get a touch. So he guides it to his own back corner. Will not take it off the first bounce. And it's a bit too high to be able to effectively kind of bait Diaz into a bad challenge. Diaz can actually just reverse all the way in and make it there, because he knows Chronic has to wait. Chronic, great bounce for him in the corner. This is pretty close to a bounce that he won't be able to follow up as quickly as he does. Nice denial from Diaz. And now he's going to waste a bit of time. He's not going to be as friendly as Jack was earlier. Chronic will work his way back. A few more seconds dwindled off the clock by Diaz. And if we see the ball hit the ground a little bit early, we can think back to the moments that Diaz wasted just a couple seconds to get his 8th goal. Chronic will instantly tie it back up, though. He is so good. Just like Diaz is off the sidewall. That's why we're looking at an 8-8 game right now. Diaz, again, missing his boost. That is so unlike him, unlike anybody in these games. But he has to reverse back to go get it. Now defending from the ceiling. Oh my goodness, Chronic! Chronic changing angles with ease in the air. Diaz trying to float at ceiling heights. Chronic put it way past the post, but he said, no worries. I'll just go get another reset and put it back on target. He gets it right behind Diaz, which means even though Diaz gets a touch, it's still in. 9-8. Maybe Diaz needs those seconds back now. Chronic's the one in the lead. Diaz grabbing the midfield. Chronic on 0. Should be able to reset in the corner, though. It's not the easiest of angles to score from. And Chronic wins the 50 huge. 10-8. Are we headed to yet another Game 7? This road to 100,000 subscriber special has given us a lot of close games. And it looks like we might finish it again on Game 7. Chronic, the zap dash, really just being anywhere near the ball probably guarantees this game in his favor, because Diaz will not be able to get a clean goal. He will go the length of the field. It lands early. Game 7. Diaz, Chronic, $1,000 to the winner of this one game of Rocket League. Game 7. Diaz and Chronic, the final game of the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational, which means your final chance to subscribe to the YouTube. You have 5 minutes of in-game time. Diaz versus Chronic. Diaz going undefeated in pool play, winning the best of 5 against Chronic. Well, he won the best of 5 again, but this is not a best of 5. It's 7 full games. Diaz out of the back corner, leaning back to try and win at 50. Even though he didn't win it, he does get the demo on the follow-up, and he'll be first to score. Tomas, thank you for the brand new Tier 1. Chronic to the side wall, but this time had to fight for it. Doesn't get as clean of a roll-up. Diaz jumping early, and Chronic was faking, but Diaz never really out of position. Still able to be behind the ball and make the save. Chronic sidewall double. Look at this shot to open up the scoring for Chronic. Diaz is going to give him the nice shot as he tries to close the distance and make it awkward for Chronic. He said, there is no awkward for me, as he passes to himself off the side wall to tie the game. Chronic able to save the kickoff, headed directly into his nets, but only for a moment. Diaz has Chronic on 30 or so boost. Side flip 50. Knows he has him pretty much starved out. Heard him coming for the immediate dive. Chronic has a couple choices. Try and keep going with 17, or maybe just go for an all-in little pinch that clears the ball right away. That was the choice that Chronic went for. And maybe if he could jump silently, it works better, but Diaz hears him looking to make that exact play. Makes the right adjustment. Long shot from Chronic. Diaz sends it to the back wall. Zap dashing, but thinking better of trying to chase down Chronic, who could just chip it over the top of him. Instead, he just tests Chronic and says, I dare you to hit it perfect, and Chronic was pixels off. It's crossbar and outs. Diaz in his back corner, kind of backed up a bit more than he would like to be. Awkward. Chronic's going to bump him. Now, is there an available angle? There is. Chronic finds Diaz as he tries to return to the net and says, stay back. Diaz, I think, is willing to go to his back corner off of those kickoffs. But only if Kronic's not going to stick around. Chronic decided to stick around, so he's instead turned it in field in order to beat him. It didn't work out. It led to what could have very easily been a Chronic goal. Now Chronic on 0. Diaz bumping him off the ball as he retreats to his back 100. You're going to see a classic Chronic wall to air dribble. Diaz faking the ceiling challenge. Chronic going to the ground. Diaz steals it right off the top. As Chronic lands, Diaz almost missed. Almost missed, but did not. 4-2. 2 minutes, 2-goal lead for Diaz. Another kickoff lost slightly back into Diaz's half, but he's done a good job of making them his possessions by winning the race to the midfield 100. Now jumping off the back wall, worried about potential demo. Chronic will have no follow-up, no boost to make any play after that. Double jump bump connects, and Chronic with a save somehow got to the back wall. Diaz is dropping a what a save, because surely that felt like a definite goal. But Chronic stuck with the play and is now still just down 2, pre-jumping Diaz. Stopping another attack. Now he has the ball, but doesn't want to dive on it. Waits it out, allows Diaz to swing back around. He's back in defense again. That shot is not it. It's going to lead to a Chronic catch and a Chronic goal. You can't make it that easy on Chronic. He's out here saving your toughest shots. If you give him a freebie, he's getting the goal. That's exactly what he does to bring it within 1. This kickoff into the orange corner. Chronic gonna pinch it to the ceiling. Now tapping it away from him. Diaz able to get a low boost goal as they fight for control off this kickoff. A game of inches. Sometimes a soft touch can get it past somebody, and that can be it. Chronic delaying his kickoff. Now another ball into the blue half. 45 seconds and 2 goals. This was an important possession for Chronic to start with, and he's not going to have it. Diaz, although finds just about nothing in the air, unorthodox from him. He's normally much more aggressive there, but he looked like he was a bit out of control. Chronic doesn't punish though. Demo now. 30 seconds left to go. Chronic needs to score this, and he should be able to before the respawn. But he has to win a first possession. The last kickoff, he did not win it. Diaz was able to control it. With possession control in 22 seconds, he very likely could end the game. Delay kickoff again from Chronic into his orange half. Diaz going to try and score a dish, and he does. Diaz punishing the delay kickoffs on consecutive possessions. This time much faster. $15 seconds left to go. Chronic does it. Oh, he does get the demo. Oh my goodness. That was going to be a game ender. If Diaz picks up that 100, it's over. But Chronic lands on top of him, and I'm going to be honest, I don't even really understand how he was supersonic there to get a demo and how he demoed him with the underside of his car. But Diaz, a single jump all the way to the kickoff. It throws Chronic off, and he pauses, but he still has a chance here. 23 boost. And he sent this one flying in the air. Diaz is not going to be able to get back to it. It's going to hit the ground inches from the net. And Diaz will finish it off in Game 7. Go undefeated in the road to 100,000 subscriber invitational and be your champion. Wow. A great run. A great run from Diaz, undefeated. Taking down Chronic twice with the pool on the line and then the whole tournament on the line.